workload to a minimum. Now this particular bench is ideal for a few different reasons. I love the clean lines. It's got that formal look I was going for, but because it's got such a nice warm color, it's very inviting. And best of all, I have other wooden elements in the garden, so the benches tie everything together.
With the benches picked out, it's time to find the right stone for the main pathway. I want something that's both locally sourced and in keeping with the look of the heritage home.
I think in this case we're going to go with the Owen Sound.
Okay.
The house that I'm working on is a heritage home, so I have to do something fairly traditional. And for me, this is traditional flagstone.
Okay. The black is more of a pebble top.
So that's not a man-made finish. That's actually coming out in sheets from the quarry that way.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, it is a natural finish. And some of it's got some of the beigey colors in it.
Okay.
And I've got it over at the other side there if you want to look at it.
Now this is the pebble top you're talking about?
That's right, yeah. And this is what we're referring to as the beige pebble top. There is some black mixed in there, but it's mostly beige.
Color-wise, it's perfect. I love that there's some yellow tones in here too, because the house itself has some yellow in the bricks.
Okay.
Because it's a natural flagstone though, it's going to have slightly different thicknesses, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so I'll probably have to chip some of that out to make it nice and smooth, because it is a front walkway and I want to make it as smooth as possible. But texture, it's perfect. It's stunning. So I need 300 square feet of this.
Not a problem.
See, Tino, you make my job easy. Let's go write it up.
Okay.
Believe it or not, most of the hard work is already done at Parham House. We've replaced all of the beds with fantastic new organic earth, and we start putting in the walkway. Now, I know all the hard stuff's done, but Sandy's coming to the garden today to see how much we've actually accomplished, and I'm not sure she's going to be as impressed. Well, it's very natural, and they're going to do a random pattern there.
Okay.
So it's not going to look like row on row on row. It's all going to be broken down. Okay?
Great.
And it's going to go straight down.
Give some character to it.
Exactly. Now you'll notice we've prepped all the plant beds already, and we've got a couple of different soils. This is where all the trees and shrubs and grasses are going to go. Whereas this is ready for grass, which you asked for.
Yes.
I didn't want it, you wanted it.
Sounds wonderful.
Now I'm going to line up the bench because I want to do seating basically right about here, because I think this is nice. We'll frame it with the bay window looking out into that space. Actually, you stand here, okay, and this is where the bench is. This whole section is going to be planted. So it's going to be full and it'll give you some privacy, but it's going to be very lush and very full in here.
I'm sure it'll look beautiful when it's done. It just got a lot to go to get there.
Are you okay with this?
It's wonderful. It sounds exciting.
Now we're pretty much on schedule.
This is scheduled?
It doesn't look like it.
Oh, okay.
All you have left really are a bunch of plants. I've got something planned for the back section over there.
Okay.
And then this is going to be done.
I don't know what Carson means by schedule, but I mean, he's got time, but that's a lot of work that has to be done.
With all the flower beds prepped, it's time to get planting.
Hey Carson,
Yes.
can you come in a minute?
With or without power tools?
If you can fix this with a nail gun, I'll be impressed.
What's going
on?
on?
We got, you want to scale.
Oh, that's kind of gross, actually.
Very disgusting.
Is that like the same scale that you get on tropical plants?
Same family, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Those are gross.
Yeah, it's pretty disgusting stuff. Really icky.
Do we need to replace them or can we treat them?
It's only going to come in again.
So then this is fairly prolific.
It is. It's pretty much everywhere. As with anything where we use a lot of one plant, some insect is going to come along and go buffet and take over.
Okay, then let's leave the standards as they are.
Yeah.
I'll teach the people at the house how to use dormant oil to kill off the
Excellent.
euonymus scale, and I guess we'll go from there.
Yeah, I think that's all we can do.
Yeah, the nail gun wouldn't have worked.
Fair enough.
Well, I've run into a bit of a problem with my own project, and as you can see, it's a long way from being finished, which means I need to keep going so that we can stay on schedule.
The Green Forest team and I are creating a Victorian-inspired garden in front of Parham House, a heritage building located in downtown Toronto. The old grass is long gone and the garden is starting to take shape. We've installed a series of hedges, laid out a new flagstone pathway, sourced 2 beautiful teak benches, and now it's time to get started on my project.
Because Sandy asked me to change my design a little bit and wanted to put grass down the center of the space, I'm going to take advantage of that to help me hide this neighbor's fence. Now I'm building something called trompe-l'oeil, which is basically to fool the eye. It's a gateway to nowhere. I'm going to work with cedar because I want this to be a showstopper. So I've got 4x4s, 2x4s, 2x2s, and 1x1s. There's also one other important ingredient. You need mirrors for this. This is what fools the eye. You think there's a pathway, but really it's just reflecting the original garden back into space, which creates a never-ending vista, which is a really cool effect. Well, I've run into a bit of a problem with my own project. Now, originally I wanted this post right here to be about where I'm standing. However, when I was putting my fence spike into the ground, you can see I've hit a rock. So I've had to adjust my design accordingly. Now I'm going in a straight line. Now, I still want it to look like it's got some depth, that the gateway is running into the mirror. So to make this happen, I've put my braces on an angle. Now, to make the effect work, you need to have very specific angles. At the top, you want it pointing down to the mirror. However, at the bottom, you need it pointing up. That creates the illusion of depth. I'm going to repeat this on that side, and then the project will be just about finished.
The last element that I want to add to this heritage-inspired garden is some solar lighting.
Okay. I think that's probably the right size. Now, how does this go together?
You start with the base.
Is that a solid piece of wood?
That's a solid piece of wood.
That's fantastic. Now, is there a reforestation program behind that?
It's fully FSC certified.
Now, what are the switches on the bottom and the top that I noticed?
The switches on the bottom, you got summer and winter.
Why would you have winter and summer?
Well, in summer, the solar panel charges the lithium-ion battery at a regular speed and effectively.
Okay.
The winter setting optimizes the battery charging
Yes.
with the solar cell, and it runs for 6 to 8 hours at night. But with the winter setting, it allows it to run for 3 or 4 nights concurrently without seeing any sun.
Oh, that's beautiful. Now all I need is 5 more.
No problem.
Okay. So, very important that the U's go very straight,
Yep.
especially for pruning. So
Of course.
the last thing we want to do is prune these crazy.
Don't want the sides all scalped on one?
No, no shaving. So straight line, perfect. Okay. Then we'll do grasses next.
Yep.
And the grasses will hide all of these boxes.
Yep, in all but June, yep.
Yeah. And then we've got boxwoods here. So really it's only 3 plants, but
Right.
I think it's going to create a really good effect.
I like it. It'll look nice and formal with the architecture.
Okay, so let's go to that end and we can start lining them up.
Fair enough.
Well, the garden's definitely starting to look very formal, and that's in part to all the straight rows of the plants, specifically the yews and the boxwoods. And once we've pruned them, it's really going to play up that whole geometry I was trying to create here. Another thing that works in that same idea is this walkway. Now, this is a very straight line, and we've gone with a natural stone, which is in keeping with the history of the house, but we've gone with a more modern look, which is the square cut variety. I also like the idea that the walkway, while running in this direction, is different than the way the sod runs, which is this way, which is perpendicular to the stone. And I love that because it's a nice juxtaposition in the space, which is also played up in my trompe-l'oeil, which is basically a big mirror. But what it does is it reflects the garden back at you as you come down the walkway. And as you can see, it's a long way from being finished, which means I need to keep going so that we can stay on schedule.
Oh my gosh, it's beautiful.
I melted down when I saw this.
It's a lot. I wasn't expecting quite this much.
Green Force has taken a neglected space in front of Parham House and replaced it with a garden that's in keeping with this building's history. We've ripped out all the old grass and have replaced it with a series of hedges, small gardens, and fragrant flowers. As well, we've created several seating areas and a little more privacy, which will help the residents enjoy a quiet time for reflection. With just a few final touches to add,